Wyoming Senator John Barrasso joins us now. Senator, you're big on fracking. I know you are. Let's cut straight to it. How do you get the likes of California and New York State to get out there and frack? Because both those states are sitting on an ocean of oil.
And it's cost them a lot of money, a lot of revenue, and a lot of jobs. But when President Trump, Stuart, talks about energy dominance, this is what we're talking about, using the resources that we have in the United States. And I now have legislation to allow states to make a lot of these decisions rather than work through Washington's slow process to get permits to explore for energy on federal lands.
But New York and California not going to do it.
Well, you see this with Governor Cuomo stopping it in California, and you go in New York, and going right across the border in Pennsylvania, where there's been significant fines and prices are cheaper. People are working. There's a different level of prosperity in terms of jobs and the economy, and you would expect a governor to have to pay a political price for decisions that are hurting the very people who live in his or her state.
So you're saying California and New York had better come to their financial senses. Good luck.
Well, you would hope that they would, but certainly the United States has now come to its senses when you look at the difference between Donald Trump and Barack Obama and using the energy resources that we have in this country in a way to provide us the jobs that we need to power the economy, to power the military, and to be used truly as a geopolitical weapon against Vladimir Putin, because people want to buy what we have to sell, and we have plenty of natural gas and oil as well.
Yes, sir. I'd love to get my oil from a country which doesn't hate me. I'd really like that, you know. I think it would be a good idea. Next case. I know you're going to the infrastructure meeting at the White House later on this morning. Can you explain how this plan might work? For example, I live in New Jersey. If there's $1 billion project, infrastructure project in New Jersey, the feds kick in, say, $100 million. Where does the other $900 million come from? Because New Jersey is broke.
Well, there are ways to leverage this with borrowing in terms of if there is a revenue stream that other people will make that investment and decision to do it. But I am very appreciative of what President Trump is doing with this infrastructure plan. We need to repair our bridges and our roads, and there are different places, different solutions for different parts of the country. What works in New York or New Jersey is very different that works in Wyoming with our, small towns and one very long main street, as we like to say.
But I don't know where the money comes from. I mean, if private enterprise puts in the money, they want to get their money back. Does that mean toll roads? And how do you put a toll on a new airport, for example? I mean, how do you do that?
Well, it will mean that some places, these private partnerships with the public, but also in other places, and you look at what the president has proposed in his budget, it is for rural communities direct access to federal money with a federal responsibility to do that. But so much, Stuart, of what I'm focused on is the permitting, simplifying, streamlining it, making it easier so we can speed up projects. We've had a project in Wyoming, Stuart, 14 years to get all of the permits lined up. You have to get one, then the next, then the next. Our state has spent 10,000 hours of state employee time to get it done, and the whole project itself, 2 years to build. So you have to talk about 14 years of permitting to do a 2-year project, and how much more expensive is it when there is that kind of a delay?
Sir, I don't want to be skeptical because I'm a huge supporter of speeding up the approval process. But if you do speed it up, the Greenies will go straight to court. They'll take you to court and say, you are endangering the planet. Stop it now.
Well, that's what they've done when they hijacked this NEPA legislation that's been in place 50 years, the Environmental Policy Act, and continue to throw roadblocks. And before this came into place, it took about 2 years to go through all the permitting for a highway project. It's now averaged 6 years. And it's all because of the delay over these environmental impacts when there, as most people would look at it, is no environmental impact. So you're absolutely right. There are obstructionists out there. We need to be able to cut through the clutter. President Trump is the person to do it, and he's talked about this, kind of one person making one decision, overseeing the whole thing, rather than one after another permit. They call it the pancaking effect. You got to make one pancake before you get to the next and stack them all up.
I like the idea that you don't get the money unless you really speed things up and do it now. Senator Barrasso, good luck in the meeting this morning. We always appreciate you being on the show. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. All right.